And if you are by now wondering why the blur dissolve never went away, that's on me. I recorded the footage wrong. Yeah, that's a pretty good example of this week's video. That's how it went down in the garage Friday and, of course, Saturday. Let's get on with it. Oh yeah, before I forget, we're working on the STI brake lines.
I have printed several of those. They are made from PPA, which is a nylon-based filament. You can call it a nylon plus. This is carbon fiber reinforced from Tech, which is twice as cheap but not as strong as the bamboo filament. It's not as easy to print. You need an enclosed print chamber, 300 degrees nozzle temp, heated bed to up 100 degrees, and I think 60 degrees ambient temperature. The filament needs to be bone dry, stuff like that. But these things came in handy because I will need this filament for something else, so I could give it a try here. And these are, in simple terms, brake line brackets. They are just supposed to keep brake lines a certain space apart. I don't think I have any application for 6 brake lines in a row, but I made them 6 slots wide because sometimes they are that far apart, sometimes they are that far apart, and sometimes my specially homemade brake lines could be that far apart. And that's what these for. On the one hand, they are a test print because PPA printing is not that easy, and on the other hand, they are useful. Which neatly brings me to the next topic, which is I made a mistake yesterday, and that's why most of the footage is unusable. Adrian and I had a long fight with the brake lines and chamfering them until I noticed that a long time ago somebody told me a better way to flare, to mushroom top those brake lines. And because I did it wrong last time also, let this be a PSA how to do it the correct way. Oh, and by the way, here are already 2 brackets in use. First of all, we start with the why. Why do we get brake lines like that? Why don't we just order them from Subaru? Like you will probably see in a future video, Subaru has stopped making a lot of parts for those cars because they're old now, same as me. And so a lot of parts are not available anymore. And like some parts, when you try to get a hydraulic e-brake for a 4-channel ABS working in the car, you need to make some stuff for yourself. And the first thing is the brake lines come in a spiral. I don't need a spiral. I need a straight brake line, which I can bend later on. Now you can go and try bend this straight, every little angle and so on and so on. That might work, but it's a hell of a time. So the easy way is you find a big block of wood, drill a hole slightly bigger than the brake line, take the brake line, push it through and give it a pull. And almost like it's magic, we have a considerably straighter brake line than before. If you want to, you can give it a little adjustments, which I don't want to because I just make it worse. The longer the hole is, this thing needs to go through, the straighter it is. A completely straight tube would even be better, but that works too. Come on, let's be real, nobody will see it. This is not a beauty pageant. Contest. I need to remove this grommet, which is not that big of a deal. But now I need to hold it from the top. Let me remove the mic so you can better get me. I need to remove it from the top
but I only can see it from the bottom. Access it from the bottom. If you hear something rattling, that is the mounting bracket for the trailing arms. That's number one, the left one, the easy one, so to speak. Oh, that's the wrong. Yes, that's the wrong direction. I can't stand up because I can't exit it anymore. I can't go further down or can hold it. It's difficult. To make some space, because now comes the embarrassing part and the aforementioned PSA. There are two types of brake line connectors, no matter the diameter or the size. These are the brake lines. There's a type where you push a cone in and the line flares like that. Both types prevent these little nuts with a hole in it. Every nut has a hole. These little nubbins from falling off. But only one of those makes a consistent seal in every angle. If I put this in there, we only have a seal when it's straight. So if the V gets slightly tapered in the other direction, I overemphasized this, we don't have a seal here and here. Unfortunately, this is the kind of connection I made with my tool. Which is here, which has a very sharp taper, which does that. This is one way, but the wrong way. The other version, which has a different name and isn't a real chamfer, is some kind of mushroom top with rounded edges. Yes, that's not a really good mushroom, I know. And the other part that sits on it has a conical shape too. So if this conical shape goes to the left or the right, is not that important. So we have a little bit lenience when putting it on. Here you need a perfect straight line. Here, if it's there, there or there, is not of that major importance. The funny thing is, this tool can do both. Which I unfortunately only noticed in the middle of the night. This little pin here rides on here and it has a groove around itself. So when you push it in from the top, that this gets smushed, either rolled around or pushed in, so we have a rounded mushroom top because of the groove around this pin, and the pin secures it in the brake line. They are for different sizes, of course. The standard size for us here in Europe is 4.75. This comes in here when it fits, or here it does fit, and gets pressed around, down. Yeah, unfortunately that didn't work either for me, because even after recognizing that, my tips were more like that instead of that. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why. I've got no idea why. I had no idea why. Then I remembered, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, how about we use some grease? And all of a sudden, it just worked. Yeah, that's it. Just some grease. The unfortunate part is
When I recognize the error of my ways, and like I mentioned, the errors of last week's episode, which is why I explained this, I already had ordered yet another tool, seemingly of which I dropped half of it. This does pretty much the same. Again, for Deutsche Industrienorm, which is a German standard for something that gets used in Europe and probably all over the world. And when I say something, I mean pretty much everything. And this thing does pretty much the same in a tighter space and in an easier way. And all that to prevent brake line leakage, because brake line leakage sucks. So let's stop having fun for a moment and please listen to me. Brake lines are no joke. Brakes are the most important part of the car. It's funny to see me fail, and here in a closed space it would even funny to see me drive to the garage door in front. There's nobody that gets endangered because of my stupidity except myself, and I can live with that. But please, when you work on your brakes, especially when you work on your brakes, check it once, twice, thrice, or let it make a pro. Please, guys. Okay? Let's get back to the funny stuff. Having a little bit of training makes it easier and then some. So, I am currently building the next longer brake lines, and I need a 80 centimeter piece, which is round about there. And if it's longer, it has more room for error and it's easier to bend. In addition to that, I noticed my 3D printed brake line clamps are not as good as I thought. They are sturdy, they are really sturdy, but that's the problem. The fiber reinforcement makes them very sturdy and not very forgiving. So if they snap in once, that's it, maybe twice, and then they kinda lose their springiness. So I will reprint all the brake line brackets you see in a few moments in normal ASA without fiber reinforcement, because that has a little bit of more give and springs back a little bit more. One last time, I show you how to do it. And now, in the perfected version. We take our beautiful straight brake line, dunk it into the fat. Yes, please. Take this monstrosity, close it a little bit up, so we have it easier later on. Give it a little slap so nothing gets canted. Take the silver one, put it in. Put in the greased end of your brake line until it can't go any further. Hold it. Since I'm a southpaw, take your not power tool. Hold this thing against the light to see that you have no gap between the screw head and the line. Take the silver one out. Take the black one. Dip it into the special grease. Get angry because the 10,000th time the grease pot lands on its head. Put the black one in. Screw it in by hand. Have a look against the light. If the small tip goes into the brake line. If the small tip doesn't go in, disassemble everything again and flare the brake line a little bit. If it goes in, everything is prepared. We're gonna take not the power tool and give it the agger-dagger. until the black bolt is completely in. We take off or out the black bolt. We open up side bolts. Pry it apart. Clean it. And we have a perfect little mushroom top. And as you can see here, I had a lot of training. I made the lines that come from the brakes, from the rear brakes. The one with the white on it is for the left side. This is the left side that comes from the brake system of the car and will go to the hydraulic e-brake. And this will be the right side from the system of the car that goes to the car's hydraulic e-brake. Hand tighten it, and as you can see, I've already got a clamp that's loose again. That will be a sensor. Have just a finger in between just to know. Just have a finger in between to have a little bit of separation when you bend stuff by hand. Then watch out for the brake line turning in your hand. This here, this is not good when it happens because you lose the topography of your bend. And now we need this tool to make a successful bend in the right direction. That should come out somewhere there. When you look from the top, the line goes in here, and right around at the 90 degree it will come out. So I have some guidance where I can start the bend. But again, I have to watch for the line that it's not turning where it's not supposed to turn. And then a bit higher. Give it the beans.
Observe, a man who just explained how easy this is. Now spending 40 minutes obsessively tweaking a brake pipe by a fraction of a millimeter because he talked himself straight into a wall. The trouble with perfectionism in brake lines is that you can tweak a bend until the end of time, but eventually common sense prevails and you realize good enough is officially good enough. Right. We begin with a camera that refused to focus, and we arrive at the end with a microphone that has given up on life entirely. Quality control is clearly non-existent, dear viewer, but tune in next week when we might, by complete accident, get both right at the same time.
I really thought it could be fun to change our angles of view. So now you are the one looking onto this mess and I'm the one looking interested. Yeah, I spent a lot of time this weekend on doing things over and over and over again. Bending, pressing, chamfering, doing again, failing miserably on an easy task. But in the end, I found several ways how it does not work and found one reliable way how it works. So I not only spent time on doing crap, but I spent time on learning a new skill, albeit an old new skill. But that's something I won't forget that easily now anymore. And I hope that goes the same way for you. And I will now be on my computer designing the new brackets. I see you next time. I'm Andreas, and I'm now going home.